I'm here to explain one of the features that AccuKnox supports and was being asked by one of the customers. The intention here is to actually map AccuKnox findings attributes. Uh, Based on the scans that AccuKnox does, the findings are created, and when the findings are identified, it might result in creation of the new tickets on Jira. The aim here is to map AccuKnox findings attributes to Jira custom fields. So Jira has this ability to, Jira allows you to create custom fields in the context of the tickets. The aim is to use the findings attributes for Jira custom fields. In this context, the example that we are making use of is the asset type attribute. So whenever there is a finding from AccuKnox, the corresponding finding has an asset type. It could be container, it could be cluster, it could be cloud account, it could be code repository. There are hundreds of different asset types that are possible. So once the scanning is done, when a ticket is created, as part of the ticket itself, the asset type information is shipped within the description, and then the aim here is that the Jira automation has the ability to use to create rules, automation rules, such that from the description it will then update the ticket and populate the corresponding asset type custom field. That essentially is the requirement. The second aspect is on what basis, what attributes would make it into the created ticket. So AccuKnox supports something called as ticket templates. This ticket template will be customized with asset type injected inside the ticket itself. So this will be populated within the ticket by AccuKnox. Let's see first the Jira side of things. So when it comes to Jira, the first thing I'm going to explain is how do you do the automation. Uh, for the automation, first is we need a custom field to be created. In this case, I've already created a custom field called as asset type. As you can see here, you can create a custom field by doing add field. In this case, I've used asset type as the field name. Asset type as the field name. This is the newly created. So if you want to create a new field, you click on create. Use asset type as the field name. For the field type, you can use short text, and the description is AccuKnox asset type here, as you can see. I'm going to discard this because I've already created it. So once this field is present, you make this field part of the ticket itself. That's an easier problem statement. So it's very easy to incorporate this custom field within the uh, ticket itself. I'll show you an example here. So whenever any ticket is created, you'll see the corresponding asset type shown up here. Now, from the from the automation perspective, we now need to create a rule. Now let me discard changes. So I have created here an automation rule which says the trigger point is whenever a work item is created. So the trigger point is when any the work item is essentially a ticket. When any ticket is created, it trigger this. The issue type is feature. So currently this is dependent upon issue type being feature. Then if this both of these equals, then we are creating a variable. Now this is where things get interesting. So Jira supports something called a smart value. In this smart value, this is actually calling a function which says within the issue description, call this function text.match and then use this regular expression to substitute uh, this value here. In as a variable name asset type. So this function will be evaluated and the output of this function will be assigned to this particular variable. And in the subsequent action, so this is a trigger, this is a condition, and these two are actions. So the first action that is handled is create variable, and this when a variable is created, then you can set, select the field, edit. So you can select an action item called as edit work item. You can select the field asset type and assign the value asset type here. So once you do this, let me go back now and go to AccuKnox. So the question right now is on what basis this asset type shows up here. Now when I go to AccuKnox, I'll first show you the ticketing template. So AccuKnox supports something called as ticketing template. In this case, I have duplicated an existing ticketing template. For example, I had this registry scan vulnerability. I duplicated this and then used this particular name. I changed the name. Data type is finding, and I added this particular field here. As you can see, this is asset type equal to asset dot type dot category. Now this is an important part. So AccuKnox also have an equivalent of smart values. Uh, so whenever there is a finding, so within that finding, this value, variable or attribute of that particular finding will be mapped here in this particular curly braces. This is typically the mustache template formatting. So whenever a ticket is next created, the category value will be. So let me show you where did this asset dot type dot category came into play. So I'll go here. I'll show you one of the finding and show you where do you get that information. So if you go to any finding, not just container image, cluster finding, or any other finding, you'll see the raw information. You'll see the raw JSON dump here. So in this, you'll see asset as one of the criteria or one of the subfield within this JSON. So the asset dot type dot category, this container will be the value that will be pushed in there. So now the other question is that now, right, as of now, we have just created a ticketing template. Now we have to use this ticketing template across multiple ticketing configurations. So when you go to the ticketing configuration, AccuKnox allows you to create a ticketing configuration. So you add a configuration. In this case, I've already created the ticketing configuration. I'll show you. I've called that configuration as vulnerability. Now you have the default template, findings with asset. So all the ticketing templates should show up here. Finding with asset type is selected here. And this is applicable on feature because if you remember, I have used issue type equal to feature here. So this is applicable only on feature. But if you want to be applicable on everything else as well, you can select whatever you want. So it could work for everything else here. The assignee is so default assignee is I've kept myself as the default assignee. So this ticketing configuration is created. Now, when the scanner or parser runs, there is a ticket that is created. The ticket could be created either manually or through rules engine. In both the cases, as part of rules engine as well, you'll have to select the ticketing configuration that has to be used when you're doing manual creation of ticket. That again, you have to select the ticketing configuration. So I'll show you. Uh, I'll go to findings again. So I have two types of findings here: image vulnerabilities and cluster findings. This cluster findings have CIS, and image or container scan findings. So what I'll do is I'll create a ticket now here. Uh, yeah, so I'll go and create the ticket. I'll select the configuration as the ticketing configuration vulnerability. This ticketing configuration uses the findings with asset type as the template. Now, as you can see, this value here is populated. Asset type equal to container is automatically populated based on the template that we had created. When I submit this ticket, it creates a new Jira ticket. So the Jira ticket is the Jira ticket ID is KN10. You'll see the corresponding Jira ticket show up here. Yeah. Yeah. So KN10 is the Jira ticket that is created here. And you can see the same fields. And then this asset type is then mapped back to this asset type here. This asset type is mapped to the asset type custom field here automatically using the Jira automation rules. Now, next, let's see, we have KN10. Now, what I'll do next is, since this ticket is already created, I'll go to the cluster findings, the CIS findings, right? Like, let me go to the summary again. I'll click on this. I'll go to the CIS findings and click on any finding here. And in this case, right, like if you look at the raw information, the asset dot type dot category is cluster now. When you create a ticket now, you select the corresponding ticketing configuration. You will be prompted. You'll now get asset type equal to cluster as the asset value. This will be the details. The problem, the CIS that has failed will be shown up. Now you can once you create the ticket is now created. It's an open state. Now you go here, sorry, not here, here. You see KN11 that is created. And if you go inside, that asset type is now cluster, as you can see. Now, the reason why we are doing all of this is because user eventually wants to add filters, right? Like now the user can add filter based on container and see how many of the issues that are how many of the issues that are tickets that are created are in the context of container, or how many of the tickets that are created are in the context of cluster. Sorry. Mm, Cluster. Yeah, so 9 and 11 are in the context of clusters, and 8 and 10 are in the context of containers. So this is the advantage. Now you can dynamically do filtering and all the other operations that can be handled on custom fields. Now, just one more point. So I mentioned I was manually creating the tickets here, but if you are using rules engine, you can create a rule saying, for example, if I say image scan auto ticket uh, rule, expiration never, rule description automatically create tickets for critical and high findings. So this will create not just for image scan, but for any finding type, right? Like I'll just change the rule name to auto ticket, automatically create ticket for critical and high findings. So I'll specify the risk factor. So the risk factor could be either critical or high, and that's it. And the condition would be is new. If there is a new finding that shows up, uh, these are the two things. Now is new is true, should be set to true. Now I can select an action and specify create ticket, and I'll specify the vulnerability as the ticketing configuration to make use of, and I'll do save here. So now whenever in the future, if there is a new finding that is identified tomorrow or in the next scan, the ticket will automatically be created, and the Jira automation will ensure that the corresponding asset type is set accordingly. So, so this feature is unique to AccuKnox, and now that the whole point of the advantage that you get with AccuKnox is that you can customize the ticketing template according to your wish, and then you can use further automations in the downstream tooling such as Jira to to do more. Uh, I hope this was useful. Thank you very much.